And as you know, we have a big man's public comment after the meeting. I will do the prayer, and Mr. Johnson will do the pledge. Please do. As you know, the church thank you for his word. Let know Father, blood, fire, they know. We never go there, we have a chance. It take a moment of silence for this piece. Gracious Father, we come to your presence today, even in our hearts. Thank you for all the blessings of this time. Bread life, thank you we could have a conversation. Father, we lift up, thank you for this one. Please hold down and make these things possible. Father, I pray for this children, this word, it's not of the spirit, and bring together this parent. I pray for our country, I pray for our parents, I pray for our president, our government. I pray for local officials, first responders. I pray for the other I pray for everyone, some of the people, and God, you can go out. Bless me, I just pray that you understand, continue to bring that in prayer to bless our community. And I pray that you stay with them here. And God, give you all the praise, all the glory. In these names I pray.
Turn, face the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please call the roll.
Mr. Michael Cheatham.
Here.
Mr. Kyle Lincoln.
Here.
Mr. Chris Hall.
Here.
Mr. Ronald Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Jason McCray.
Here.
Mr. Keith Mills. Mr. Richard Oliver.
Here.
Dr. Chrissy Oakland. Here. President Louis King.
Level 4. The voice of the Cruise Agenda, please. Who by Mr. McCray?
Second.
Who by Mr. Johnson? Any discussion? Question from the audience? Who's all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. First thing agenda, old business, adopt the minutes from August 21st, 2023 regular read by the way.
Motion.
First on Ms. Oliver.
Second.
Second by Dr. Quinn. Any discussion? Question from the audience? Who's all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, new business. Take action on proposed amendment to Article 5, recreational vehicle, RV, section 3B721, where the public hearing on this matter will do opposition. Need a motion.
I'd just like to make note what Mr. Boozy brought up about an article about fencing, that they come back and ask for variance on fencing, so I just want to put that in the minutes, that'd be a possibility.
I make a motion to approve it as it is.
Yes, sir.
I got two questions, just need clarification. Who's the zoning official clerk in this office? This calls for a zoning official and clerk to review this stuff. Who is that in this
We don't have a
office?
zoning official. And just that problem first thing.
Sorry?
We don't have a zoning official.
You say it in this thing, so you either need to strike it
Strike
or
it.
designate somebody.
We will just this one, but right now we're referring from, because we don't have.
All right, then my other question is on number 13, the landscape plan has to be approved by the planning commission staff. The planning commission doesn't have a staff. So you need to change that and say the planning commission or somebody. I'm not under number 13.
We don't have a staff.
Well, you want the full planning commission or it just needs clarification? That's my
Planning
question.
commission members.
Members.
He observes the clerk, the planning zone, she takes in all the maps.
She don't have nothing in the minutes.
We're taking the applications.
So she really not a clerk. She really a secretary for things.
You know, he's secretary.
Well, she take all the minutes.
She's the paid parish employee, which is clerk is a title.
She is.
to come in and get on.
Table this?
Yeah, the table. Motion table. Second. We're gonna take this all concerned, get everything moved on. We go back to Mr. Sam and have him read it. Okay, we go table. We're talking about council going to the table. Any discussion? Is all in favor? Opposed, the table.
I oppose.
Opposed? None opposed, absolutely. Okay, discuss, take action on request for preliminary map inspection for High Creek subdivision with the Craig Code.
Good evening, I'm Eric Robichaud, I'm the developer. I've met with you folks a number of times over the years. Craig Corey is our new engineer who's taking the place of Boyd Holmes. Boyd started the project, designed the whole thing, and then it was bought out. His business was bought out by Ford and Watt, who now works for the parish. Boyd is not involved in this project anymore, so there's no conflict of interest, and we are passing the engineering duties over to Craig.
So we're just going tonight to extend the approval of the preliminary plat. Original plat was approved in November 2021, and then final plat for the first filing of the preliminary of the plat was done in November of 2022. And so we're just asking, we have construction plans approved for the first and second filings already. We just need extension of the plat, just to be able to continue with construction.
How much time is it?
I mean, we want to extend it as long as we can. We got another filing, two more filings approved on the preliminary plat that will come years later. So if we can get it for 3 to 5 years, that'd be great. I think your ordinance reads it expires after 1 year. Yes.
So what's the pleasure of the jury? Mr. Hall? Second, continue.
And it is the recommendation of the engineer also.
So, now we got a motion second. I got a question. And this is what I just asked. The first part of that road has already been adopted by the parish. And some of the residents have reached out. For whatever reason, they can't get 911 signs for that street. They're having to bring their garbage out to the main highway. That is a parish road at this point. So we need to get with 911, make sure their addresses are correct, because that is a parish road, and make sure that Waste Pro knows that no more garbage pickup at the main highway. It needs to start going down.
Once they get the 911,
So I do know that we have, and I think it may have been the same subdivision. Mr. Chastain came here before, and there was some issues with the 911 address and the adoption of the roads. Spoke with a couple of jurors, there was some questions they were saying. I think we just need clarification.
The road was
From the
adopted.
jury.
It was adopted. It was a major subdivision, so they have to do exactly what we say. Once our engineers came back to us and said, everything's complete, everything's done, at that point, and what I mean by that is when our ordinance says you have to do this, 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 and this on the major subdivision, at the end of the day, you can't say we're not gonna adopt that road, just because we're not adopting any roads. They've done every criteria that we've set, so I'm not, you have to adopt. So at that point, we made a motion, I remember we adopted. So it is our road at this point. We just need to figure out with the trash company and 911 what we need to do. I think the trash company is just a simple phone call. Hey, this is a parish road, now we need to start picking up trash at the houses. Now 911, I remember when Ben came here, the addresses were messed up. And he said that he would have to change them to something.
They're all Ryan Road.
Correct.
None of them are, Iron Creek.
Yes.
I think his intent was, as soon as the road was adopted, they would all become same number with Iron Creek Road.
And whatever he needs to do to fix it on his end, we just need to let the guys that do work for us, and we also need to let the water company and all those guys know that that's parish road. You have parish right away, parish road, all of that.
Okay, yeah, because there was conversation, we have like 5 subdivisions, so those are all gonna be new roads. right as,
Well, we've adopted that road already, so it's already ours. The first phase of it. Now, as they complete the next, and they do everything they're supposed to do, that'll be adopted. I think it'll be an extension or whatever you guys call it.
so you only have Iron Creek, Sam?
Yes, it's on.
Only Iron Creek?
Yeah, Iron Creek Road, first quadrant has been complete. And when we built this, we know it's this might be a 10 or 20-year project, because it's a lot of acreage, it goes into the woods, we don't know how it's gonna sell, we have no idea what the economy's gonna do, so we just gave y'all a master plan originally with the intent of 4 different basically phases, is what it comes down to. And as one phase starts showing success and sales and building, then we'll move on toward the next one. Hopefully, we keep this going and complete the whole thing, but at any time, if we need to shut it down, we just will. But we'll have good roads and a good subdivision up to that point.
Was this also the subdivision with the discussion of the bond?
That's right.
Remember there was a discussion and you said that Police Street wasn't taking on any new roads, so now that we know it was approved, do we still need a bond?
I would say, yeah.
We're about 6 months left in the process. We adopted the road last November.
Yeah.
So we're 8 months left in the process. And even Fort DeBlois wrote to you guys and said, hey, it would really benefit the jury to get this bond. We just have to get the details ironed out. And I'm ready to buy that bond at any time. I will make this comment, within the next month, within the next week or two, we will be finishing the blacktop on the second file. We're having our pre-construction meeting here in this building tomorrow morning. So we're trying to take advantage of this dry well. I'm not gonna say pretty, but dry well. And so we'll be back in front of you guys in a month or two, and we'll need to buy a bond on the second piece of road too. So maybe we should just buy one person.
Just saying, we adopted this road, and I knew it was last year, but I didn't know the time frame. It's November.
Okay.
So we adopted it in November. He still hasn't bought the bond. Instead of you buying a bond for the first phase, second phase, what's your bond gonna be good for?
Well, you need 18 months is what I'm required.
Okay.
So I'm required to go another 8 months on the first phase and a whole 18 months once y'all adopt the second phase.
So would you, okay, I see what you're saying, never mind, it's a good question. I understand.
Well, but we could do it all at one time.
That's what I was
We could
thinking.
just structure on both
He's
pieces.
fixing to lay the second phase of it, can you just bond the whole thing at one time?
Possibly, and we'll say this bond is for the remainder of the period, and the next bond is for the full 18 months.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that. In
Instead
fact,
of running out here at this.
y'all even allowed us, there was some utilities that we just didn't have the details worked out on yet, and y'all allowed us to add into the bond the value of those utilities. For some reason, we disappear tomorrow, the bond would facilitate the utilities as well. So we can put that, if you can just give us a point person to work with, whether that's Fort DeBlois or somebody here at the jury, we're happy to do.
That would be a question for the commission. The only thing that I want to do is make sure that we can move forward as of now is start to get these folks with their correct 911 addresses.
You all in agreement, understand that the road was already adopted in November of
2022.
Yeah, we adopted, I remember.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you say this road is adopted, and we are, Police Street, are supposed to maintain it?
Yes.
Once we adopt it, yes, ma'am.
So you're saying these roads are blacktop, to whose specifications? I mean,
To the ordinance of the.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will tell you this, I believe, because I paid for it, I believe it's the best road in East
It's got to be, it's got to be.
It probably is.
And that's what we do in our ordinances, is we state it has to be to this standard, or the parish will not adopt.
Okay, very good, okay.
Because we want
Thank
to
you
get
for
bang for
answering.
our buck, if you're gonna come in and make, develop a place.
Yeah, we
make a
don't
good
have roads that
subdivision,
need
we don't want to touch it
maintenance.
for as long as
We don't
possible.
need any more.
Right.
I gotta say, it's been a year and there's not a pock on the road, I mean, not a nick. And so, the standards that you guys have, even the blacktop company, Warner Brothers said, you gotta do that? They never make us do that. So apparently that's pretty good standards.
Yeah.
It's got a worsening of the standard. No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
I will, while we have the microphone, and I know it's not on the agenda, so I'm not gonna take up much time, but I'd ask you guys for some other consideration, put on the radar. Where Iron Creek crosses, and it's really not Iron Creek. If you go look on the maps, it's called Iron Bayou. I just used a little artistic liberty in changing the name because I thought it rang better. But Iron Creek is actually a watershed, a 2,000 acre watershed. Where this road is being built and the houses are being built is primarily on the ridge that follows Iron Creek. Well, from 2,000 acres, you know, God in his infinite wisdom had a great valley that when we'd have a big rain, it would just go on down. Over the years, somebody decided the road needed to be put across there. And Line Road was built. It was built mainly with dirt. And that's fine. That's done all over the world. As long as the gap that's left for the water to rush out is a sufficient gap. In 2014, I already owned the property at that time. In 2014, that gap was proven insufficient because the whole bridge washed out. And it was about 2 years before anything was done to move forward. I have to think it was a temporary solution because they put two 54-inch sewer pipes instead of a bridge. And they are insufficient. Last year we had 4, 2 years ago we had a 4-inch rain. I took pictures of what happened in that 4-inch rain. We sent them to you guys. I don't know if it ever made it to the intended right people. So tonight I'm talking to the full group. Those culverts are vastly insufficient for that 2,000 acre watershed. And what happens is my property unintentionally becomes a giant retention pond when that happens, until the road becomes a giant spillway. And it's a big problem. This is flooded. This is a 6-foot drop off of water. There's no emergency services during that time. Sooner or later, in fact, those 2 culverts that are in there, and I call them culverts very lightly because they are not construction culverts. Those 2 culverts are going to wash out because they're undermining now. I'd invite any juror to go take a look, climb down in the ditch and go down and look what's happening. And it's going to need some attention. And I'd ask you guys to please put it on your radar. I don't know what your priority system is. I don't know how you indicate what needs to be looked at, but I sure want it on the list somewhere to be looked
Can I
at.
speak on this, Lewis? I'm in Ted Jokes, and I'm in Bluff Creek area. I'm not sure what your subdivision is. Let's get, I'm glad you brought that up. So, in other areas of the country, we have impact fees, where if somebody wants to go in and they want to make a subdivision, they do something to help impact the area. That sounds like a good area where your construction company could actually do something. To
Well,
impact
let me tell you, going back to what the engineers require, they require that because of the impact we were making on that valley, we build a whole retention system and a drainage system. If you go look at there, it's quite a project.
What areas are there?
When you're coming up Highway 19 through Baker, through Zachary, and you get to F and you go left, and you kind of cut at an angle toward Jackson on Line Road. It's easy to see, and look, when the engineer, his predecessor, showed me what we had to build. Have y'all seen that structure that we built, that concrete structure? When he showed me, I went crazy. I said, this is going to cost $100,000. And it did. And it's doing what we needed. You're absolutely right. I had to do that to control our impact.
But for your residents that are gonna live there, they're gonna wanna go down there and, I mean, I'm not speaking for the parish, I'm just a citizen who does a lot of traveling and works with construction companies. Like I said, I work with oil companies. When they go somewhere and they wanna take oil out of the ground, they have to pay an impact fee. We require impact fee, we do, if you require them.
And excuse me,
And I know this is not on the agenda.
this
I'm
is
sorry
not on
to
the
take you.
agenda, I had to set the timer, so you're at a 3-minute limit right
Just
now.
wanted to bring it up.
It's information on the
Thank you, sir.
Is there somewhere for the garbage truck to turn around?
Yes, we had to build a temporary turnaround. At each end of a phase, we have to put in a temporary turnaround.
So there's already
Yes.
one.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you, sir. It's on the agenda, adopt proclamation of Childhood Council West, September 2022, with Chelsea Steel.
East Feliciana Parish Police Jury Childhood Cancer Awareness Proclamation, September 2023. Whereas childhood cancer is the leading cause of death by disease in children, and whereas 46 children per day, or 16,790 children per year, are diagnosed with cancer in the U.S., and whereas the average age of diagnosis is 6 years old, and whereas on average there has been a 0.6% increase in incident per year since the mid-1970s, resulting in an overall incidence increase of 24% over the last 40 years. And whereas approximately 1/2 of childhood cancer families rate the associated financial toxicity due to out-of-pocket expenses is considerable to severe, and whereas in the last 30 years only 6 new drugs have been approved by the FDA to specifically treat childhood cancer. And whereas hundreds of nonprofit organizations at the local and national level, including the American Childhood Cancer Organization, are helping children with cancer and families cope through educational, emotional, financial support, and whereas researchers and healthcare professionals work diligently dedicating their expertise to treat and cure children with cancer. And now, therefore, I, Lewis Kent, President of East Feliciana Parish, do hereby proclaim September 2023 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. I encourage all residents of East Feliciana to observe Childhood Cancer Awareness Month and support this cause that so deeply impacts families in every community across our country. In witness whereof, I have set my hand and caused to be affixed the official seal of East Feliciana Parish Police Jury, Clinton, Louisiana, on this, the 5th day of September 2023.
And you know, that was something for elderly and youth in this pen. I love everyone here, but especially into elderly and children. Childhood cancer is a terrible, terrible thing. I think we might have to do is after proclamation, declare September as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Motion to
Second.
any questions from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda, rescind motion to set September 18th public hearing to read public input on proposed ordinance to regulate the discharge of a firearm on or near a roadway or river. You go to the Senate.
So moved.
You know, that's the question.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCray. Any discussion? Question from the audience. The reason for that is simply because on the 18th, we moved our 18th meeting to the 19th, so we will not be on the 18th. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Set public hearing to receive public input on proposed ordinance to regulate the discharge of a firearm on or near a roadway in Reading, September 19th, 2023, 5:30 p.m.
So moved.
Very good.
Second.
And now the Queen, any discussion? Question from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance approve Caruso Bridge task order with 4 changes of law, evaluation not to exceed $7,500.
So moved.
Well, Mr. McCray.
Second.
Second, Coach Chief, any discussion?
Yes, when we was here before with the, we was requesting quotes, or whatever we was requesting, have we stopped that and waiting to do this and then go back to the quote?
And so it's advertising for bids.
Quote, whatever.
No bid, not quote,
Yeah,
that's no
okay.
bid.
Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, have we, made the people on Caruth aware that we're slowing this process down because we promised them it was gonna come off pretty quick?
We did, because they go through the bid process.
Well, I know, but I
Make them
got
wait.
that, but I mean, has anybody reached out and said, look, it's gonna, we adding another 3 weeks to this process?
I don't think we're adding another 3 weeks at this point. I wouldn't say that it's being slowed down yet because it's advertising, it would take 3 weeks and it would not be running yet. So 4th of July is supposed to be here no later than next week. And depending on what their
What I'm concerned, go ahead, I'm sorry.
But if so, we will still be able to run the ad if,
And I'm doing the best I can to communicate with the
Well,
village of Wilson through.
Yeah.
I have waited after we had this meeting tonight. And when I spoke to Josh Lord, he explained to me, even though we're having to wait, it still won't be as long as it would have if we had went through the complete advertising. So I understand what you're saying.
yeah, I mean, a lot of, but anyway, I just think we need to let those people know something, because if the blog comes in and says, no, what y'all putting out is not gonna work, we're not gonna prove it. So then you gotta say, whoa, wait a minute, then we gotta start over again.
We will, with the school,
You know?
with the school will be aware, the public will be aware.
Okay.
It will be notified, yes, sir.
and that's what we're doing now. That's why we're ahead of that. We didn't want to do the big hits and
Okay.
everything, and Fort Supply says, oh no. So we've been working with this Democratic Fort Supply and to make sure we do everything. And we're
And I
moving
understand what
in.
you're saying too.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things come through here and say, we do it, and we ain't doing nothing.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you got somebody comes in here that undresses us, and we don't like that. So let's get that on.
It's a process you have to go through. Sometimes growing pain is slow, for the bit. Anything else? Motion is second, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. It's over doing community self report. Your committee, I don't have anything. Personnel committee, Mr. Michael Key.
I don't have anything to say.
Finance committee, Mr. Christopher Carter.
One thing, I make a motion to approve monthly invoices.
Mr. Johnson, any discussion? Personnel committee, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. It's over doing public works and equipment, Mr. Jason McCray.
I don't have anything to say.
Mr. Craig, if you would know, I asked this last year, it seemed like it's the end of this year. The graders that we have on lease or whatever we got, are they gonna pay out this year?
I'm not certain about this year. I have to check on the screen. I don't know if it's this year or next year.
Cause they're 5 years, they're for 5 years.
And this is 2023. It might be in 24, 25 when we finish the lease.
Okay, I just like to know that, because that's.
I'll get back with you on it though.
10 grand a month there, you know. So,
Anything else?
no, that's,
I think it's a building property, Mr. Richard Allen.
I don't, have anything, this, how we doing on the courthouse, did he come look?
So, Jeff did meet with Ron Coe, over the weekend or our holidays. He did send me a text message. So we are moving along. Someone from Cribs did come out. He's waiting on a quote, and, we also spoke with Arthur, I believe. But we're working on getting it done. We have made steps, and we're not abstaining. We had a couple people to come look out, so we're waiting on folks, and we're prioritizing the way we at the courthouse first. We're trying to move it along.
Anything else? Okay. I'm gonna fit it now, Ms. Randall.
So the vegetative waste site, it's time to have it cleared out. Just want you all to know. We'll bring some quotes back before finance committee to bring to the full jury. That's the first thing I have, Region 6, we have everyone that spoke with Kelsey about getting registered for the Region 6 meeting. That's Monday, September 18th. There's more information in your packets on where the meeting is.
It's in Madison.
Yes, sir. Public hearing is scheduled for the 19th that Mr. Lewis you all just voted on. And Mr. Bueller and myself, we received something from FEMA today, an email, and they announced the immediate implementation of immediate needs funding to extend the remaining balance in the disaster relief fund. So there's some fact sheets and free
Anything else, Ms. Harris?
That's all
Any questions, Ms. Harris? Or we gotta go move on? Treasury report will come out with next week. Ms. Harris?
It's in your binders for, June and July.
We good. Any questions? We move on. Homeland Security, Darryl Lewis.
Trying to follow up on that FEMA, because of the amount of hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, everything that's pretty much went from east to west coast, Hawaii, with all their fires, hurricanes they had hit, they are running out of funding right now. So everything that hadn't been obligated already is not stopped. They're just putting it on hold right there. You can still put grants in, they just don't have nobody left that can physically work on it. To do it, because the amount of money they're putting out from a hurricane Adelia, when it come through, the amount of damage. Yeah. So they sent a letter out a couple weeks ago saying, hey, we might have to do that, but they are.
Mr. Bill, so far, great and blessed, and no hurricane yet.
Right. And we're gonna try and keep it that way.
Please, hopefully, because you all said the
I
same.
go 2 for 2. All right, just we did the emergency temporary housing just in case the 5 towns and the parish signed it. What that means is if we do get hit, we don't have enough places to house people. We can put mobile homes, RVs, under a permit system, beside somebody's house. If you had a tree fall on it, you gotta do some repairs. Because if we don't have that, if we had to turn it in, it'd take forever to get approval. Well, they already have the paperwork getting it approved right now.
I want to thank you also for all the people who were proactive instead of being reactive.
Yeah.
In the past, you hear the reactive and everything. Now you're trying to be more proactive.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we're going to a new paging system. It's called iPods. River Bend is actually paying for us at Region 2 with GoSep. Hey, they're gonna pay all the cost on it, so we'll have no cost to the parish. What this is, if you put a page out to the entire parish, it goes to all the cell phone towers that we determine which ones. And then instead of, if you don't have it on your phone, it don't matter. When we put in that tower, anybody that within reach of hitting that tower, it sends out to them, no matter who your carrier is. So they're gonna be doing away with the sirens over there in Jackson, the 14 sirens we have. They're getting old, starting to have some problems with this system. They're going nationwide with it. And in October, they're doing a nationwide test. So in October, you'll see a page coming out. Everybody with a cell phone, house phones, they can do emails, but most of it's gonna be cell phones. You'll be getting it real quick on it. We finally got the approval. My salary now will be paid from the EMPG grant. Got it just right before we got here. Yeah, we've been working on this for a while, and we got the approval today. So we already put back in. Miss Julie gave me all the paperwork, so we reapplied it to when I started, August 8th. So we're gonna get that money, so. Yeah. It's been a lot of
Ask
work.
and you will receive.
Yep, and it's getting with the right people that are meeting the GoSep. They just happen to be the person I bumped into.
Gotta ask, I'll make you do tell you.
Yeah. Well, this person here, we met in Lake Charles at the conference. And we were in the meeting she was in, and that's the one who really got the ball rolling on this project. We're gonna be setting up what's called an IPP, Integrated Preparedness Plan meeting. We had one before. We're gonna do one again in probably another week or so. That way we go over, we have the paperwork all updated on if we have an emergency, here's what we'll do, and stuff there. I'll be sending it out to all the police juries. We'll be sending it, and I got the core group on for EOC, they're gonna get it, and we're gonna have a meeting and all on it. So, we finished the hazard mitigation plan with LSU. We did it, about 2 weeks ago, we wrapped it up. And they submitted it to FEMA. We're waiting to hear back if we got to do any changes on it. And that one, we pretty much, hey, it's gonna be kind of like how we did before. We took out some stuff out of it that don't affect us, but we don't have any dams around here we gotta worry about busting. Any levees that would bust, we don't have any levees that would endanger downstream crews. Burn ban is still in effect. We've had over 55 fires just on the east side of the parish. We've had over 450 acres burned, and we lost 0 structures. We got within 10 foot of the closest structure.
And there, we still got the burn ban on, but
Yes.
tell them about the pits and,
You can use the pits where the governor and all has shut everything down, no burn pits and nothing. Now you can barbecue yourself, but you have to have a way. I told people, have a fire extinguisher, a garden sprayer, a little 2-gallon garden sprayer that you can put a fire out. Because if it gets out and the fire department has to respond, the state fire marshal comes in there and they issue a ticket.
you can't be fined for $500.
$500. All right, and that's it. The firemen, hey, they get good. Hey, forestry, we've had them in there with 3 dozers at one time.
I want to compliment you all. I've been away, I've been working.
Yeah.
Thank you, you've done a good job.
We had one Saturday right there that we started at 5 that morning and we ended at midnight that night. We filled up twice that day. We spent $1,400 just in fuel. Hey, to fill all the trucks to keep them rolling that day.
And I keep on checking with you,
Yeah.
Homeland Security Director, and keep you informed of what's going on.
Yeah.
Some people still be doing it. I was coming down 19 about 7 o'clock last night, coming out of Slaughter.
Yep.
And somebody had a big fire on the
Yeah.
side of the road. I mean, nice
Yeah.
size fire.
State Fire Marshal is patrolling from 8 in the morning to 8 at night. And we have one dedicated to this parish. They ride the entire parish. They ride around checking.
I know you see the fighting ground too.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
Hold on, I'm kinda angry trying to decide when I got one about a football field for my house. I look forward to that thing.
Every Wednesday about 9:45.
Every Wednesday in the month.
Yeah.
Then you got over with something.
Yep, now you get it on your phone. We can put that siren as your
Y'all
text.
is gonna be glad to see.
Yep.
All right, thank you, sir. Move on. Planning zone. Recommendation to approve A through E.
So moved.
That's approved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Michael Cheatham?
Yes.
Mr. Kyle Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Chris Hall? Mr. Ronald Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Jason McCray?
Yes.
Mr. Keith Mills? Mr. Richard Oliver?
Yes.
Dr. Christy Oakland?
Yes.
President Louis King?
Yes. Are there questions for Mr. Lucian before you leave? No questions? Okay, Mr. Lucian, thank you, sir. Chamber of Commerce.
Just save the date, September 28th. We'll be hosting a membership mingle in Jackson at Galvez, from place. So save the date for that. We're also in the process of
Membership what?
membership mingle. It's social. We're members of, the chamber. Yeah, which includes all of the jurors. Save the date. So I have the information for you.
Don't we have one that comes up with them come too?
It's on October 4th. And, after this, 5 to 7.
I haven't received anything.
You got They got an email.
Oh, okay. Trunk or treat will be next month. I'll have more information for you all on that. We're planning and we'll meet on the 7th.
Ms. Harris, I will bring my $10 about what she said could walk with council. I will be part of it also.
Okay, and anyone else?
You know, it'd be a good thing for the support. Anything else to say?
That's it, Mr. Hall. So I have Mr. Hall and Mr. Kent. All right.
Okay, public comment. Question from the public. If not, intend work to adjourn. So, okay? So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any self-